Hallucinations, a lot of people are nervous about, and the combination, what we achieve with Voyage and MongoDB together, is addressing basically a much bigger problem, if I may do that one, because it's the end-to-end workflow. If you cobble stuff together out of small pieces, as we all know in IT, that generates normally points of interest, let's call it politely. And by having Voyage and MongoDB tightly integrated, and Voyage being one of the leading vendors in their space, my little picture, if I may put it like that one, is now we have the LLMs, which are the brains. We have the vectors and the vectorization, which is more like the memory. We have then semantic search, which is your semantic recall, and your verbatim recall with the text search together gives you this hybrid search. Then we feed it off into an LLM, then it comes back from the brain, and then the re-ranker sorts out and optimizes the answer. So by having this all integrated into one model is so much easier for people to work with, and to be honest, much more transparent. And we're really excited about this one that allows you to have much better control of your results and at the end reduce hallucinations. Voyage AI is really leading provider of re-rankers and of models, and is used widely across the industry. And so in that part, we're very happy to really integrate with a leading provider, which then led to obviously the acquisition and integration of Voyage AI. The next part is our clients asking for deeper integration between data and models and re-rankers to begin with. So one part is that we are integrating there on the code level, which makes it so much easier for the developers to work with the environment. When you think about it right now, you have to do external calls into models and write the data back. All of this can be pushed out in the database. And my normal starting point is in AI signals, right? You have external signals, you want to react to them. By having everything in the database, it's much faster to execute upon, and it's much easier to develop in that regards. The other side, obviously, Voyage AI brings a lot of domain expertise as well in their models, which is nicely appreciated by our clients. When you think about credit scoring historically, it was a credit score number and people get reduced to a number. It was very intransparent for people to figure out why. And specifically when you take a look from the what I call the unbanked community or the less service community, the gig workers, the self-employed, there's a lot of people where maybe the credit score is not really reflecting the status of the individual, or let's call it the classic credit score. And by utilizing AI capabilities, we're able to source different information together and make sense out of it. Think about people have paychecks, people have invoices, what they collect regularly. And there's so many other things which makes up the picture of an individual today. And one of the largest examples is right now actually in Brazil, PicPay, which is delivering on global scale, so to speak, in Brazil, banking for the unbanking. And we see the same concept where people interpret the individual versus just the overall give me a number based out of some banking data. And this is where credit scoring becomes completely different. And to be honest, allows new opportunities for people from microfinance to, maybe find a better mortgage and reduce the percentages they pay on their houses, which is a problem we all have, right? Fear is a word which is sadly used a lot together with AI. There's a fear of losing jobs. There's a fear of data. There's a fear of hallucination. So when you take a look, there's still, I would say, there's a certain level of uncomfort together with when it comes to AI. And that is mostly driven out of not knowing, intransparency of data, and getting a better understanding what the systems can do. Second, obviously, somebody called today's LLM is a toddler moving towards to become a teenager. So when we take a look at that one, that's what we see as well on hallucinations. The work what we're doing with Voyage AI together with MongoDB is really addressing that part as well of fear. To have a transparent flow of data is a starting point when people ask you, how did you come up with that answer? To be able to say, we have the following input data, we have the following vectors generated, and out of that one, the following semantic recalls, and out of that one, the following input in the LLMs, which gave us the following results. This level of transparency takes a lot of the fear and uncertainty out of the picture, which is often mentioned by people. The second part is there was a lot of excitement where people started to experiment with AI in multiple cases. And this is great. I love to experiment at home as well and use it regularly. But there was not the rigorous process behind yet in many cases, which is needed from a business driven approach. So when we see more people in businesses using these kind of functions, they're coming from a very structured approach and they're asking again the same question what I started out with, which is, can you transparently show me what is actually happening, where the data coming from, what happens with the data, and what is the output? And by doing these things, I think the fear will be reduced. The other side, the more social side, is now more generic. We as database vendors cannot solve the fear of people about job loss per se. But what I see from a lot of discussions, by being more transparent in what we are doing, people lose a little bit the fear about this. And we see this when we go back to the start of the internet. Everybody said there will be no more stores in the future and everything will be on the internet. And what we see is actually a complete different direction, which is a much more exciting part where people combine on-premises and in the cloud and online shopping experiences into this omni-channel. And the same we will see in AI coming up. I'm pretty sure that there will be amalgamation between AI, interactive work, and the right input from the human being. And what I see today is mostly about reducing repetitive, let's say, non-intelligent work. So the intelligent part and the human empathy part will never go away. The vision, what we're going is really to integrate, to allow a simplified approach, transparent to the user, transparent to the deployer, with accelerated use cases, because we see more and more a drive for change, and industries and companies which stay still and stick on their legacy environments, we see being stuck. And my best example for this one is the area what we call modernization or modernization factory in that part, which is people look at legacy software and look for it like a big hill to die on in modernizing. And we are developing with MongoDB tools and tool chains, which allows you to do this much more simpler and much faster, much more reliable. When we take a look, for examples like Lombard Odier, which is one of the clients which went public with their work, where we are optimizing very large legacy database and application environments and bring those environments to the 2020s. And then it's much, much easier to load AI functionalities on top of these. This is where we see the future going right now. Loading up historic data, building more advanced business capabilities, drive real business value beyond the, let's say, summary functions and copilot functions which are available today. I can only invite people to really try out the MongoDB search and vector search functionalities together with the Voyage AI integration. We have written as well a beautiful book with over 200 pages of real practical examples out of multiple industries brought together. So this is not, I would claim, this is more an architecture guide for people who really would like to see how are other people really doing this one. And that one is something we really suggest people to check out. And then obviously our MongoDB Atlas is an easy way to start. You have a free version to start off. You don't need to pay money for it. And if you're interested to learn more, always contact your MongoDB players.